Did you know that today a greater percentage of the world's population than ever before is Christian? No matter what you hear, what the media tells you, Christianity is still the number one religion in the world. It has somewhere around 50,000 new converts every day. The world is bigger than you think. My good friend Ravi Zacharias, he and I were talking about this not too many weeks ago. And I said, Dr. Zacharias, give me a prognosis of the church in America. And he said, well, you know, the social prognosticators would have you believe that the Bible will be eradicated. And if you've ever listened to Ravi, you know that he loves to talk about Voltaire, how he said that the Bible would be eradicated, the church would die, and then he died and his house was turned into a printing press for Bibles. I love that story. But he says the social prognosticators would have you believe that Christianity's dead or dying. He says nothing could be further from the truth. In Russia, we have over 80 million Christians and growing. In China, 100 million and growing. And he said God, faith, Jesus are all alive and well. It's just that the center of Christianity has shifted. Now, I didn't think much about it at the time because he had taken me to his favorite Indian restaurant. I was too busy enjoying culinary delights, as he would call them. What does he mean? It's just that the center of Christianity has shifted. Andrew Walls, a respected historian concerning world Christianity, reminds us that wherever the world's religions began, that place continues to be their center today. Islam has its Arabia, its Mecca. Buddhism is primarily a Far East religion. Hinduism has its India and is primarily an Indian religion. But Christianity is the exception. Its center is always moving. From Jerusalem to the Hellenistic Gentiles, from the Hellenistic Mediterranean world to Alexandria, then to North Africa, then to Rome, then to the Northern Europeans, to the Franks, the Anglo-Saxons, the Celts, all of Europe and beyond. But then in the 20th century, something interesting began to happen. Christianity began to recede in Europe and North America, and she began to flourish in Latin America, Asia, and Africa. So that in the past decade, a major corner was turned. For the first time in human history, more than 50% of the Christians in the world now live in the Southern Hemisphere. Why? Andrew Walls says one must conclude there's a certain vulnerability, a fragility at the heart of Christianity. You might say that there's a certain vulnerability of the cross. Dr. Tim Keller, in his book King's Cross, elaborates on this statement. He says the heart of the gospel is the cross, and the cross is all about giving up power, pouring out resources, and serving. When Christianity is in a place of power and wealth for a long period, the radical message of sin and grace and the cross can become muted or even lost. Then Christianity starts to transmute into a nice, safe religion, one that's for respectable people who try to be good. And eventually it becomes virtually dormant in those places and the center moves somewhere else. Now, if you're following, you know where we're going with this, right? The gospel is still going out into the world. Christianity was a world religion long before it was a European one. Still today, Christianity continues to be a religion that is the most distributed across cultures and continents. No other faith has so extensively crossed the cultural divisions of humanity and found a place in so many diverse cultures. Sometimes university students will say to me, but Jeff, I don't like Christianity because it's so exclusive. And I like to remind them that all religions are exclusive. But I'll tell you something about Jesus. He's the most inclusive exclusivist you'll ever find. Because no matter where you were born, what tribe you were born in, what caste system, whatever, all who call on the name of the Lord shall be saved.